There's no doubt they're all winners, and we're proud of all of them. Now we're going to ask our 2011 Young Farmer and Rancher Achievement Award winners, Brad and Carla Spencer, to come tell us about our 2012 Young Farmer and Rancher Achievement Award.
Well, it's a lot easier to speak up here now since it was last year. I was pretty speechless last year when Carla and I won this award. All I could say was aloha and thank you. But it took us several years to accomplish us winning this award. After winning this award and receiving all the gifts this past year, it has been a true blessing from God. The trip to Hawaii was a long one, but was well worth it. We got over there and went to our first meeting, and when we got over there, we were sitting in a big auditorium and everything, and they announced the top 10 in the nation. Well, our state, Mississippi, was called, and our name. And we were speechless once again. After all that was over with, and we had to go compete. And once we started competing, meeting all the contestants, we got to talking to them and asking them, where they were from and what they had won. I want to tell you, by far, Mississippi has one of the best prize packages there is. I would like to thank all the sponsors for what they have done for me, my wife, this past year. At this time, would you turn your attention to the screen as we meet this year's contestants?
Our first nominees are Clint and Tiffany Russell from Bolivar County. Clint is a row crop farmer from the Mississippi Delta.
We've got a 3,000-acre basically grain farm, rice, corn, and soybeans. I've been farming since about 1999 or so, and with my dad. And then when he passed away in 2001, I had the opportunity to continue the operation and chose to do so. And started out with about 1,400 acres at that point, and have grown to 3,000 now.
Clint says that water management is the major issue facing farmers in the Delta.
We know that our water table is experiencing some difficulty, and we realize that if we don't do something about it now, in the future it's going to be too late. So, farm bureaus, several organizations are getting together to try to come up with economically feasible ways for farmers to address that problem. And, I definitely agree with that and want to be part of the solution.
Keeping his machinery up to date has been one of the most important things that Clint does on his farm. Having newer and more precise planting equipment, using GPS technology, and purchasing larger, more efficient harvesting equipment have been the most significant investments to improve his farm. Despite what many people say, Clint thinks the public appreciates all the hard work a farmer does.
I think when they find out how hard we do work, yes, they do. They understand. They understand that we work hard just like anybody else that runs a business or has a job and works hard for somebody. Doesn't matter what you do. If you work hard, you're doing something good, and you can appreciate somebody else that works hard. And when they understand where their food comes from, the beginning of it, and how it gets to their plate at the table to feed their family, I think they do appreciate what we do.
Tiffany is a 4th grade language, arts, and science teacher in the community, and she's also an adjunct teacher at Delta State University. The Russells have 2 children, 9-year-old daughter Anna and 7-year-old son Colin. Our next nominee is Manuel Mata from Calhoun County. Manuel farms 200 acres of sweet potatoes near Bruce.
I started working for my dad as soon as I got out of college. I worked for him until 2010, and after 2010 I started on my own. I rented 200 acres in Big Creek. And ever since then I've been doing on my own, and I continue to help my dad and everything. We've been together for about 4 years. I've been working since I was 12. He had me working on the tater setter, so I ain't no stranger to the game out here.
When he started farming, he used mostly his father's equipment, But in 2011, he bought his very first piece of equipment, and now he owns 4 and keeps them very busy during harvest season.
Well, it's really not hard. I mean, you just do what you got to do and plant them at the right time and then dig them at the right time, and then you can store them or we can wash them. And now, I mean, they got different products with sweet potatoes. They got patties, casseroles, French fries. They make a bunch of baby food. Anything you think of that's got sweet potatoes in it, it usually comes from here.
Even with 4 crews working, it takes several weeks to harvest 200 acres of sweet potatoes, and then
you can either store them or you can go ahead and we usually wash some straight out of the field, and we store the rest to cure them, which that sets the skin and develops all the sugars in the sweet potatoes, make them somewhat more sweeter than they are right now.
his father and business partner own a washing and packing shed where Manuel takes his potatoes after harvest. The 15 to 20 member crew carries out all the duties of sorting, cleaning, and packing the sweet potatoes for delivery. He says the biggest issue facing his industry right now is educating the public about the benefits of eating sweet potatoes.
People don't know that much about sweet potatoes. I mean, they're good for you, and I mean, they're just good to eat. If we can just market it better and get everybody to know what sweet potatoes are.
Manuel says he'd like to expand in the future by 100 acres or so because he really enjoys the business.
The operation is really kind of easy. I mean, you plant them, spray them, cultivate them, and dig them. That's about, you know, it's bam, bam, bam. It's no rocket science.
Our next nominees are Nicholas and Corey O'Neill from Sunflower County. Nicholas farms just outside of Chula near Horseshoe Lake.
We're currently farming about 1,300 acres, which this year we just had corn and soybeans. Our crop mix in the past has consisted of corn, cotton, soybeans, and rice, but with commodity prices, the corn and soybeans outweighed the cotton and rice this year.
The biggest change in his operation this year was to drop cotton and go to all grains. And because of the increase in grain production, he saw the need for more on-farm storage facilities. These grain bins give him the ability to store the majority of his crop and market that crop to his best advantage. Nicholas is also a big believer in using the latest technology to help him farm.
It's something that we've embraced because it's the norm, but you know, I think it's a lot bigger change for somebody like my dad than it is me, but just the technology of just a simple computer, being able to hit a few keys and pull up what you spent on a crop and know what you need to do next year, that's something that's a lot easier.
Keeping his farm sustainable is also a high priority.
We've got 3 tailwater recovery ponds, and we're capturing water off of probably about 75% of our acres and using that to irrigate probably 40% of our acres. You know, some people don't really see the impact of that, but every time it rains, that water that we've pumped out of a lake or reservoir, it gets replenished very quickly, and you know, we're saving that groundwater. We're not the biggest farmers in the world, but we are very passionate about what we do and try to take care of it so that we can be here for a long, long time.
Corey is a home health nurse in Greenwood, and the couple has 3 children, Mia, who is 8, 5-year-old Millie, and Jack, who is 2.5 months old. Our next nominee is Scott Canada from Hinds County. Scott is a cattle and row crop farmer near Edwards.
I've been on the farm full-time for 12 years now. With my parents in a partnership. Been farming all my life. This year I had 100 acres of wheat. I had 300 acres of corn. I had 300 acres of full-season soybeans and 100 acres of beans behind wheat. We also raised 200 beef cattle.
Urban sprawl has had a large impact on Scott's operation. Land values have nearly doubled since he started farming, and people have been moving out of major cities wanting to own a piece of property for recreational use. This has made it difficult to obtain a long-term lease on the farmland that is still available. But it's not just city folks that are snapping up property.
With the 5 years of good sustained commodity prices, there's a lot of people, you know, renting up whatever little bit of land is available at extremely high rates. It's been a real problem. I've lost several acres over the last couple of years. to some people out of the Delta, paying about 3 times what everybody else in this part of the country pays for land. They're paying that for rent.
Scott has designed and built many structures to ease the handling of his cattle. He built new exterior fences and then cross-fenced them to use the natural flow of the cattle in the evenings to lock them up for working the next morning. Scott has served Farm Bureau in many ways, including being featured in one of the Farm Families of Mississippi TV commercials.
Farming has been my family's business for 8 generations. I'm proud to be one of the Mississippi farmers who provides food to families that is safe, reliable, and affordable.
The Farm Families of Mississippi.
He is also scheduled to become County Farm Bureau President in 2014. His wife Leslie is a stay-at-home mom to the couple's daughters, 7-year-old Haley and 3-year-old Hayden. Next we have Glennis and Jana Brooks from Walthall County. Glennis runs a dairy farm south of Tylertown.
I'm a 3rd-generation dairy farmer. My dad, his grandfather, they always milked for another man. In 1993, my dad bought this dairy. We started out with like 116 acres and just a few cows milking. And then in February of this year, of 2012, I bought the dairy from my dad. And I'm currently milking about 95 cows and raising all my heifers.
Just before Hurricane Katrina hit in 2005, they remodeled the dairy barn.
Now we got a double 8 where we can milk 16 cows at a time. And we upgraded our feed system where we buy the corn and the soybean and we mix it ourselves and mix our own minerals with it and everything. Get the ration like we want it. We know it's the same thing every time as long as we're doing it ourselves.
With help from the Extension Service and the Department of Agriculture, the new feed formula has increased the milk production of his herd.
They put on a lot of weight when we started feeding her, you know, the ration and day after day the same feed. We've seen a better quality cow, which from there you get more milk production out of a better calf.
Glennis runs an electrical business that has expanded to doing a lot of commercial work, but his heart is on the dairy farm.
My nephew, he's kind of running the electrical business for me, so I'm kind of staying here more now since I bought the dairy. I might go to work with him an hour or 2 a day, and then I'm back here on the farm where my heart is.
Many of you might remember 2 years ago at this convention, Glennis and Jana were finalists in the YF&R Achievement Award contest when they got a call that their house was on fire.
Bill Pygott, our district manager, come and he called me himself. He's the one that broke the news to us. It wasn't nothing else to do but just drive home and face it, you know. It started from scratch. All we had was the clothes that we had up there with us, and Farm Bureau took us up an offering, and it sure helped out. We had to go that day and buy stuff that we needed. And without Farm Bureau, we would have never pulled through it.
They have plans to rebuild their house on the same slab as the old one. Glennis and Jana have 3 children, Kaylee, who is 13, 10-year-old Riley, and Alan, who is 5. Our final nominee is Matt Hudson from Stone County. Matt runs a cattle and soybean farm outside of Wiggins.
We've got a few mama cows, about 120 mama cows, and I've got about 100 head of calves that, you know, we precondition, and we'll buy them, you know, sometime during the summer, get them straight, and then, you know, we'll feed them until we get grass for them.
Matt is in the unusual position of being a first-generation farmer. His family never farmed or owned cattle.
We rodeoed. I used to rope calves, and I went to the, you know, to the high school national finals all 4 years, and I loved fooling with these cattle.
So he took some leftover scholarship money and bought 10 Holstein steers.
I was able to buy a few sets of, you know, a few mama cows, and I just kept turning them over and turning them over, and every little bit I made, I'd replace some. And I just kept working, you know, working up to where I'm at today. And it's, you know, I've been mighty, mighty fortunate.
After several years of doing pretty well with cattle, Matt decided he wanted to try his hand at raising soybeans.
It's worked out good. I mean, I planted 100 acres this year for my first time, and I hope to be able to plant 200 next year. Mighty fortunate. We got all the rain we needed, and we just started cutting them, and they're cutting excellent so far.
Matt says the biggest issue facing agriculture in his mind is the high price of inputs.
I would say the hardest thing is, is the fuel and the fertilizer cost and things along those lines.
Starting a farming operation from scratch is a daunting task, but Matt says he's had plenty of support.
I had some people that farmed back in the day that was willing to help me. With the knowledge part of it, to the do's and the don'ts. My family, they never had any cattle or anything. My folks helped me do anything I ever wanted to do. They was a supporter all the way, but I never had any farming background, prior to getting started on my own. That's for sure.
At this time, I would like to tell the sponsors, when I call your name, please come forward. Mr. Jack Williams, President and CEO of Southern Farm Bureau Casualty Insurance Company, sponsoring the 2012 Ford Extended Cab four-wheel drive pickup and $500 cash for each regional winner.
Good evening. As always, it's my pleasure to have an opportunity to stand in front of this group and make this presentation. Like all of us who work for our Farm Bureau insurance entities, we're extremely proud to be a part of this wonderful organization. Southern Farm Bureau Casualty has been sponsoring this award for, I think it's about either the 19th or 20th year, and this is something that we're very, very proud of. The Young Farmer and Rancher program is something that is critical to the success and the future of this great organization, and I look forward in just a few minutes to presenting the keys to a brand new truck to the winner of the 2012 Young Farmer and Rancher Achievement Award. Thank you.
Mr. Joe Heyman, CEO of Southern Ag Credit, he is sponsoring $500 for each of the regional winners. He is not here tonight, but he's passed the word and said he cannot make it, but said good luck to all, and they are proud to be a sponsor. Mr. Stan Wood with Watson Quality Ford. They are donating $500 in cash for the State Achievement Award.
As a fifth-generation Mississippian, I'm very pleased to be a part of this, and certainly Watson Quality Ford and Ford Motor Company as well. Thank y'all.
Mr. Sherry Parker of Kubota, donating 250 hours to the use of a Kubota tractor.
It's a pleasure to come every year and help celebrate this wonderful opportunity. I want to take a moment and let you know that Kubota is also celebrating its 40th anniversary this year, and we are giving away a free tractor to anyone who'd like to enter. Go to Kubota.com or Facebook and try to win a new tractor. For those poor recipients who don't get to get 250 hours tonight, I hope you'll try to win that tractor. Anyone's eligible. I'd love for it to stay in the state of Mississippi and help support our young agriculture people. And on behalf of Kubota, thank you for the opportunity to participate.
Mr. Larry Long of John Deere, he is also not here. They are donating 100 hours of the use of a John Deere tractor, and they would like to congratulate everyone and are happy to be a continuing sponsor. And the state winner will also receive $1,800 in cash, well, not in cash, but $1,800 towards a technology purchase, and the all-expense paid trip to the American Farm Bureau annual meeting in Nashville. At this time, we'll open the envelope, and your 2012 Mississippi Farm Bureau Young Farmer and Rancher Achievement Award winner is
Scott Canada.
Thank you. Whoa, that's loud. First of all, I have to thank God for placing me in a country where we're free to farm and do the job that we love. I have to thank my family for putting up with the long hours and the highs and the lows that I go through every day. I have to thank my parents and my grandparents who came before me and made it possible for me to do what I do. I wrote some stuff down so I wouldn't forget. Just in case. I have to thank Southern Farm Bureau Casualty and Ford for the truck. I'd like to thank John Deere and Kubota for the use of the tractor, and Southern Ag Credit and Southern Farm Bureau Casualty for the prize money to all the regional winners. I'd like to thank all the Farm Bureau family here. Most of you know me. I've been around a little while now. I'd like to thank everybody that has supported me and taught me everything that I've learned about Farm Bureau. There's one person in particular I have to thank, a retired regional manager back there who started me on this process with this award. And I was happy on the farm doing nothing, and he said, I got a contest where you can win a new truck, and got my attention. And that's what started it, and as I got involved and more involved, I learned what Farm Bureau was really about and how important it is to our livelihood and everything to do with this state. Whether you're a farmer or not, there's nobody that is more important to this state than Mississippi Farm Bureau. And thank y'all.
Aren't we proud of all these young farmers and ranchers? And the future looks, that part of the future looks good.